Hello viewers, welcome to the GEEK Studio Show, a show on Youth TV. This is a show that we talk about technology, innovation and entrepreneurship. And today we have a guest whose profile is both local and international. She runs quite a number of companies, both which are based locally and internationally. I'm going to introduce her to tell so that she can tell us her name and her experience. Hi. Welcome to the show. Can you tell us your name and your experience and what you do here?
Thank you very much, Peter. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm very happy to be here. My name is Harriet Chebet Ngok, and I'm a finance and entrepreneur consultant. And as you said, I was out of the country, as you indicated, I was out of the country for a while, for 15 years, up until 2009. I came back, and since then I have been doing this work as a finance and entrepreneur consultant for a variety of clients. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Harriet, for that short introduction. Now, can you tell us how it started, where you started from education, and from where you started and where you are now today?
Excellent, I will do. Okay, my journey actually started in Kenya. I did my primary and high school education here. I went to Loreto Convent Msongari up until standard 8, and then I went to Alliance Girls High School up until Form 4. Then my parents took a decision that either way, I should do an equivalent of A-levels. So I went to St. Mary's School and I did the International Baccalaureate. Then from there, I got into London School of Economics, and my parents thought it was an extremely good opportunity. So I then traveled to London. I did my first degree there and my second degree there in international banking and finance law. From there, I was recruited into a company called JP Morgan Chase. So I worked in investment banking in London for 10 years until 2009. Then I came back. Now, the reason I wanted to be here was that I felt at the corporate level, I wasn't really touching people, touching individuals. Within the same organizations, I was doing a lot of work in the women groups and in the groups that were underrepresented. So at some point, I was even president of the African Caribbean Society. I was a member of Women in Banking and Finance. So I was doing a lot of kind of activist type of things within the same institutions. So I felt that if I came back to Africa, if I came back to Kenya, I could do more and actually reach more people and touch individuals.
Okay, thank you, Harriet. That is I'm very much impressed with your profile. Now, can you tell viewers how was the transition like? I mean, you just came from Kenya, from Loreto Msongari, from Alliance Girls. How was your experience like the first time you arrived in the UK?
The first time I arrived in the UK, I can tell you it was cold. It was freezing. Nothing had prepared me for the weather, number one. And when I got there, it was just within the same day, I called home and I said to them, there are no Africans. So I remember my mother asking me, did you go there to meet other Africans or did you go there to study? So it was a bit of a culture shock. But the university culture there is very strong. So you spend a lot of time studying, you know, running away from the weather, running away from the winter, running away from the rain, and spending time in the library. So I can say that with time I adjusted. It took me approximately 5 years, actually, to really get used to the way things were. And luckily, I went there when I was in my early 20s. So I was reasonably young and easily adaptable.
Thank you. Now, let me take you to the point where by now you already settled and now you are already doing your bachelor's, the first degree.
Yes.
How was it like making friendship? I mean, do you remind who was your first friend like and how did you get him or her? Okay. And how was the general climate in the UK at that particular time?
Okay.
Yes.
My first friend was somebody, a Jamaican, a black British Jamaican. And immediately he saw me and the way I was dressed, he said, oh, you're straight off the boat, aren't you? Hi, my name is so-and-so. And he's the one who took me around London to find my hostel and to find my lectures and that kind of thing. And what tended to happen was because you typically would find there were 2 Kenyans, 1 person from Botswana, 2 from Trinidad, 1 from Jamaica, 1 from Uganda, 1 from Guyana, and we all became friends. And up until today, we are still good friends. Mm-hmm. So that helped the transition because we were all experiencing the same thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have any experience of living in a Western country. And we were like terrified of not passing, of not getting the grades or, you know, what actually took us there. So that was interesting. Generally speaking, university people are friendly. The lecturers are friendly. The UK has a culture of formal but friendly. So it was easy to adapt in that way once we found our friends who also came from Africa.
Thank you, Harriet. Now, you are there at the London School of Economics.
Yes.
After graduation, what came first? I mean, did you get a job, or did you fly back to Kenya and then went back to look for a job? How was it?
I got a job because the work visa requirements means that once you leave, you're not allowed, at that time, you're not allowed to apply for a job from here. You have to be based in the UK. And there has to be reason as to why they would employ you over a UK national. So I remember at the time, my employer was trying to broaden their diversity initiatives. And in the investment banking world, one thing was missing: minorities and women, of which I fitted both categories. So by virtue of the fact that I had the grades necessary, and I fitted into those categories, I think I was lucky. So once I secured a job, then I flew home for 3 months, just to celebrate.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, you had got the first job as an investment banker.
Yes.
How was the work environment like in Kenya, or like in the UK as compared to Kenya?
It's like comparing apples and pears.
Yes.
Because first of all, we had long hours. So typically, you're in the office maybe at 7:30, and the earliest you'd leave is 8. And sometimes you're leaving at midnight. And that is the life of a graduate employee, someone who's come in initially, the people sort of like at the bottom of the pile. So at that time, you're expected to do all the grunge work and to do what everybody tells you to do, and to spend your time creating those models or looking at those models, analyzing reports, and doing what is considered the boring, unattractive work that nobody recognizes. So for about 3 years, it was like that. After that, then it's still sort of like an 8 to 7 job, because it's high performance, it's very competitive, and you have to be strategic about building your career within the organization. So I'd say it's completely different. The only thing is that they don't have traffic jams. So here, we end up doing long hours because between a certain time and a certain time, we're in traffic. So we still have the long hour culture. But in that space, it's very competitive. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Let me take you to the point where by now you're already working in the investment banking, and it's like at one point you said that, let me just move out and form my own company.
Yes.
Now I realize that you have like you are a finance and entrepreneur consultant with Cherry Blair, business coach and mentor.
Yes.
Then you also do some things with the Green Women International. And then you have some stuff that you do with the leaning.org and then Dwika projects.
Yes.
Now, at what point did this start? Did you start while you're still working, or you just went out and said, I'm going to start my own business?
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened is I moved back to Kenya, and I didn't find it as welcoming as I expected. Because what I wanted to happen was, let's say I'm in job group A in the UK. I wanted to come to Kenya within a month, I'm in job group A again, and my life just continues. But you see, I had no networks here. I had been away for 15 years. And the people I knew, yes, I went to school with them, but they had also moved on with their life. So I found the adjustment quite difficult, actually, because I didn't understand the system. I didn't understand who you needed to speak to, or where you drop your CV, or how you package yourself to be employed at the same level. So really, my going into my own business was out of necessity. I hit the road, I hit the ground running. I needed to make money. I needed to become sustainable. Now, what I did notice, though, was that my networks there now were very strong. And the reason for that was, after being in all these organizations I talked about, women in banking and finance, and the African Caribbean community, and the people I met at university, I would say that my greatest strength is that I am a super connector, and that I am a great relationship builder. Suddenly, those people were looking at Africa, and they needed somebody here who would give them advice about how to establish a business, or how to invest, or where to invest, or what to do if they had a friend who wanted to go to Nigeria or wanted to go to South Africa, and that person wants to set up an ice cream parlor. Who do they talk to? And I became the go-to person. And that is how I started my business, actually. So all these people started out as clients. And eventually they became co-founders of different companies I founded with them, or partners or business partners. So that's how it started, actually.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So how was it building this network of friends or network of people or network of entrepreneurs who will really be interested in starting business in Kenya? How was it? Were you going in colleges? How did you start to bring these people so that these people can know you? Was it online? Was it just through friendship, through referrals? Yes.
Okay, a lot of it actually was through social media. You know, I'm very active on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Gmail. So what I would do is I spent a lot of time just posting information about Africa. If I see there's a private equity company or there's somebody investing in, let's say, Safaricom, or there's news about these particular individuals, I would siphon it out to everybody. So I became like a serial poster. I would post anything and everything to do with business in Africa. So this attracted people to me. So now imagine if I know somebody on Facebook who has a friend who wants to, let's say, invest in real estate in Kenya. That person, my friend, will see me posting and recommend me to their friend. That is actually how I met pretty much all my clients. You know, with the Cherie Blair Foundation, is that very similarly, I found them looking for mentors. And I discovered there was a lot of mentees in Africa who had to be mentored by women who are like in England or in the US because they couldn't find mentors here. So then I applied to become a mentor. And this is information I found online as well. I applied to be a mentor and I started building a very strong relationship with the Cherie Blair Foundation because I knew it was going to be worth it. It was going to pay off eventually. And up until today, I'm still with them. So it's really, even with the way women work, the way women work is run by a lady called Rania Anderson. And she was putting together a book of emerging women entrepreneurs. And she found me again online, and then she wrote about my profile, and we kept talking.
Okay, thank you. I think what we're doing is really relevant to the show because it's about technology, it's about entrepreneurship, it's about innovation. Because I realize that you use a lot of technology that you experience in your time in the UK to leverage on that and bring, get business out of that.
Yeah.
Now, can you give us a short intro? I'm really interested in knowing what you are doing under Great Women International. Then from there, you take us through the leaning.org, then maybe Dwight Car Projects, maybe within 2 or 3, just a summary of the 3 companies.
Okay.
Start with the Great Women International, please.
Great Women International is an organization that is based in South Africa. And what they're doing is creating an online platform for women all over the continent to showcase what they do. It's like an online magazine, but they also have like a paperback version. It's advertising, generally speaking. So the more of us women are on that platform, the more people are attracted to it. They look at it and they say, oh, this woman is doing infrastructure in Africa. This one is doing green technology in Nigeria. This one is doing solar panels in Egypt. And this is how we network and get business and get to know more people. Lean In is, I was connected to Lean In through the way women work. Because Lean In also do the same. They profile women, very similar to Great Women International. They profile women who they believe are doing good things around the world, connect us together, and at the same time, let other people know what it is that we are doing. You've also spoken about
Dwight Car Projects?
Dwight Car Projects, actually, this is my most, I would say almost my most recent project. And I've been with Dwight Car Projects for 2 years.
It's like a flagship project too.
Yes. And why I love Dwight Car Projects is because they do entrepreneurship training for youth, women, and underserved groups. It started out as a management training company for corporates. But what really makes me feel good is the fact that we go to places like Congo, we go to places like Southern Sudan. We go out there and do training for entrepreneurs, and then we get corporates to pay for it. So that's the main thing for Dwight Car Projects. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just forgot to say that in your profile, I realized that you also do some stuff with Synapsis Group.
Yes.
Which is a private equity firm currently based in Nairobi.
Yes.
With a focus on African startups.
Yes.
Now, can you just mention something a bit about this? Synapsis.
Okay, Synapsis Group is a group I was with, and I was an entrepreneur consultant with them. And that is when I discovered this category of consultant, an entrepreneur consultant. That is a person who comes into your business, you're an entrepreneur, and takes you through a business plan. It takes you through like a mini MBA. Synapsis offers like a 6-month mini MBA program. At the same time, they give every entrepreneur a consultant who will then tell them, this is how you do your sales. This is how you do your marketing. This is how you do your financial projections. So it's like you're a doctor for the individual businesses. So that is what I can say about Synapis.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, viewers, we've just heard what Harriet Chebet Ngok does. I mean, this is a very rich profile, a very interesting profile, and this, I'm sure that as viewers, as our viewers, our special viewers, you really get interested in this. And please, you can follow us on Twitter at Geek Studio Show and on Facebook page at Olo Esquire. We'll have a short break, and then we'll come back where Harriet will take us through the Dwika projects. Thank you.